A reading from the book of Jeremiah. Woe to the shepherds who mislead and scatter the flock of my pasture, says the Lord. Therefore, thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, against the shepherds who shepherd my people, you have scattered my sheep and driven them away. You have not cared for them, but I will take care to punish your evil deeds. I myself will gather the remnant of my flock from all the lands to which I have driven them, and bring them back to their meadow. There they shall increase and multiply. I will appoint shepherds for them who will shepherd them so that they no longer fear and tremble, and none shall be missing, says the Lord. Behold, the days are coming, says the Lord, when I will raise up a righteous shoot to David. As king he shall reign and govern wisely. He shall do what is just and right in the land. In the days of Judah shall be saved. Israel shall dwell in security. This is the name they give him, the Lord our justice. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory to Jesus Christ, slava Iesusu Christu, glory to him forever. Father Francis with you on this second edition 16th Sunday in Ordinary Time. I know I've already uploaded a homily for the 16th Sunday in Ordinary Time, but I'm calling this one, in light of our readings today, a shepherd's plea. That's what I'm going to call this one, okay? A shepherd's plea. Now hopefully it'll make sense in just a moment. Well, this past week, we've had shake and bake weather up here in Corpus Christi, Lake Tahoe, Tahoe City. I think it was the last Thursday. We had a nice, good, a little 5.9 earthquake roll through. Maybe some of you felt that. Maybe some of you didn't. And then we've had extremely warm weather up here. Now, again, I'm not trying to complain because I have no right to complain. I do live up here in a beautiful part of the world, and for the most part, the temperatures are quite temperate. Like right now, almost 7:30, and it's 72 degrees, and it's gorgeous. It's delicious weather. Okay. So, as they say in Scotland about when people complain, they say, quit your greeting. So I'm not going to be greeting, okay? So whine and cry and complain somewhere else, but not on this video. Okay. But I want to talk about some things that have got me concerned. I was going to say simply that the last week I've just been drained. And I just think it's due to the heat, because today I'm feeling a lot better. But last week, all the energy was just seeped out of me. And so it was hard to kind of process things that come along your way. Sometimes when you're feeling a little bit better and life, you're in good health, you can kind of handle certain difficulties. But, sometimes when difficulties come and you're just not feeling all that great, they can be really a little bit more harder to deal with. So what I wanted to talk about is some things that I'm concerned about, because as a shepherd, you're supposed to be looking out for the sheep. At least and what that means as a priest, that you're trying to be an authentic Catholic. You're not trying to mislead people. That reading from Jeremiah says, woe to the shepherds who mislead. And I'm afraid that there are some shepherds out there who are for whatever reason, and again, I can't judge their motives, but they seem to be, if you will, not being authentic Orthodox Catholic Christians. They're trying to change the teachings of the church to accommodate the secular mindset. Okay, so the first thing I want to lead off with is with this. This is a little video from the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. Roll it.
You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep him from disco, warn about San Francisco, make him wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children, we'll make them tolerant and fair.
Okay, so again, what they're doing is they're saying they're coming for your children. That's right. Now, again, some people say, "Oh, come on, now that's just parody. That's that's a little bit of they're being ironic. They don't mean what you think they mean. In fact, they're kind of trolling you." Have you ever heard of that word, trolling? It's like, they're just trying to get a reaction out of you. But dear friends, I think unfortunately there's a lot of truth to what they're saying. They want to convince that young people, and we're seeing it in the schools now, that they want to convince young people that this new gender theology or new gender theory, transgender theory, I guess that's what they call it, is now the rage. And if you oppose it, they're going to shut you down. They're going to say, enough's enough. You be quiet. And here's a video that is also very alarming, and I'm going to play that one right now.
Presented unindexed statistics that have no reflection on Pennsbury.
You know what? I'm going to stop you there. We're not going to tolerate misrepresentation of facts around equity. So that's irrelevant, and you can stop.
In your opinion?
No, you can stop, Mr. Daly. You're done.
You sure you want to do that, Mr.
Yes,
Ramirez?
I do.
All right, we'll see you in court, sir. Just a reminder, you didn't need an equity.
I said you're done.
You didn't need an equity.
I said you're done. Mr. Daly, sit down.
That's not what it's called.
That's what I'm calling it.
I understand, but
Then
that's not what it's
your
called.
comments are irrelevant then if you're not going to call it by the right term.
This
is the equity policy.
Look, immigrants excel to the top of the academic socioeconomic ladder of success. Or
All right. We're just you're getting into irrelevant things. We're just going to stop you there. You're done.
Who made you the king
You're
of the
done.
sport?
You're done. You're done. We're not going to take it, that is irrelevant.
That's important because it breaks.
You're done, Mr.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
done.
you are, Mr.
No,
Marshall.
I'm
You're
not
done. You are done.
I will sue you as well.
You're done.
No, I'm not.
You're done.
What? Based on what?
Board policy 903. You are
What
now
is it?
being disruptive and disorderly. You're done.
You're the one
You're
who
done.
did it. You know what?
You're finished.
You can count on being sued.
For the 8% that are unhappy. I'll bring the 8% in here, let them meet with
All right. You're done. You're done. We're not going through this again, Mr. Abrams. That is not what the equity program is about, and we're not going to sit here and listen to you. You're done. You're done. You're done.
Now, you probably, if you were like me, you're probably very upset when you heard these people who had concerns about this new racial, I can't even remember all these names now. This new racial theory that's being promoted, which is very, very, I think, it's very incendiary, let me just say that. But when the people were objecting to these different theories, whether it's the gender theory or the racial theory, what are they being told? They're being told, you need to be shut up. You need to shut up. You need to be quiet. Well, it reminded me of another period of our history, which I'll play for you now.
Wie wichtig wohl das Amt des Zivilanwalts da gewesen sein muss, das Sie gehabt haben, dass Sie nicht mal Anwalt, nicht mal Soldat geworden sind mit dem Alter. Und dann von da sind Sie dienstverpflichtet worden. Spricht ja auch für Ihre Haltung, dass Sie erst gewartet haben, bis man Sie dienstverpflichtete. Feines Früchtchen. Ja, feines Früchtchen. Sie haben gewartet, bis man Sie dienstverpflichtete. Und zwar, wo sind Sie hingegangen? Chemische Erzeugung, haben keine Ahnung von Chemie. Werden Sie lieber eine Knarre in die Hand genommen, wäre ich auf dumme Gedanken gekommen. Aber natürlich, Sie haben ja bestätigt, dass Sie KVer sind. Na also, und werden Sie hier nicht unverschämt. Mit Ihnen wären wir fertig, Firma. Sie sind nicht berufen, hier Sie ein Urteil anzumaßen, wo Sie nur dazu da sind, sich auf die Äußerung, ob Sie Verräter am nationalsozialistischen Großdeutschen Reich und damit an unserem deutschen Volk sind, darüber zu äußern, so wie es Ihnen gebührt. Lassen Sie Ihre dummen Trugschlüsse, lassen Sie Ihr Jesuitentum weg. Jetzt reden wir weiter. Das ist also Ihr Respekt vor der Brüningschen Außenpolitik. Übrigens.
Im Wesentlichen gedacht an die vielen Morde,
Morde?
die im Inland und im Ausland passiert
Sie sind ja ein schäbiger Lump! Brechen Sie unter der Gemeinheit! Ja oder nein? Zerbrechen Sie darunter?
Herr Präsident, auf meinem
Ja oder nein auf eine klare Antwort.
Nein.
Nein, Sie können auch nicht mehr zerbrechen. Denn Sie sind ja nur noch ein Häufchen Elend, das vor sich keine Achtung mehr hat.
So hopefully you are seeing the connection I'm trying to make. That people are being told that they can't have an opinion. They can't have an opposing opinion because they're going to shout you down. You're done. You're done. You're done. Okay? And that's the scary thing, because this seems to be a real slide into totalitarianism. It's so funny because everybody kept thinking that the totalitarianism was coming from the right. Of course, maybe I need to go this way. Yeah. Right, your right, my left, whatever. But it's actually coming from the left, okay? So again, we have these people that are saying that they are going to come and try to re-educate or re-indoctrinate your kids about what real marriage is like, okay? And also, this new racial theory. Again, I sometimes I lose track of these new jargons or these new jingoisms or whatever, new phrases, slogans, whatever. Anyway, so you get the point. But anyway, I was just thinking that the problem is that, we're trying. It seems like secular society is certainly making inroads into stifling the church, stifling people who speak in the name of the church. The sad thing is that even there are people now inside the church that are now trying to tell people who are trying to be faithful, good shepherds, like this priest here, Father James Altman, that the bishop, I guess, had to silence him because the bishop didn't like what he was saying. But the problem was he's saying everything from the catechism. He's saying everything from the authentic teachings of the church. Now there seems to be, again, I'm sad to say, a group of people in the church that are embarrassed by our traditional teachings. They don't want to hear about our traditional teachings, whether it's on, the sanctity of life in the womb, the sanctity of life at the end of life, coming against euthanasia, and also what true marriage is. Okay, and so when you say, like Father Altman, these are the teachings of the Catholic Church, and we're called to embrace them. Some people now take umbrage, and they're very angry. They make anyway. So, but then priests like this gentleman here, who basically says that the church is wrong and it needs to change, he's promoted. He's promoted while this other priest is persecuted and demoted. Okay, so anyway, it's just not fair. Again, one's trying to be an authentic good shepherd, not mislead the flock, and yet we have this other gentleman who, unfortunately, and again, I can't make any real judgments other than all I can say is he's in error, okay, when it comes to the catechism, the teachings of the church, authentic teachings of the church, and trying to deviate from those. He is in error, and he needs to seriously consider what he's doing, because he's not being a good shepherd. So it kind of leads me to this other concern that I have. I noticed that, another concern that I have just today, which is very, very disappointing, very upsetting, is apparently the Pope is now rescinding the traditional Latin Mass. Now, some people might say, well, why are you even talking about that? It's not really a big deal. And I would have to say that for most rank and file Catholics, it's just not an issue. But there are a lot of people, and this is where I'm going to get to in a minute, a lot of young families that are attracted to the traditional Latin Mass. And it all kind of stems from Paris and France, and this is where I think it all generated. But the thing is that the Pope has been encouraged by some bishops, mostly in France, to basically put the kibosh on the traditional Latin Mass. Now you might ask why. Well, the problem is that the older Catholic population that was going to what we call the Novus Ordo, the one that most people go to, well, those congregations are, I hate to say it, are shriveling up and dying. And bishops are concerned about that. And as a result, the collections are drying up, okay? But young families, young people love the traditional Latin Mass, and they're going to that. And they're going to it and they're flocking to it, they're going to it in droves. And so unfortunately, these French bishops were very, very angry and upset about that. And one of the reasons why, and this is very alarming, is because that a lot of these young families were rejecting not only, quote unquote, the Novus Ordo Mass, but they were rejecting the Enlightenment society, the secular society of the Enlightenment. And that made this one bishop very, very angry and upset. Now, if you want to know more about this, I'm going to put a link below by a wonderful Catholic journalist. His name is Michael Matt. I didn't say Matthew Matt. I always like to say Matthew something, but anyway, it's Michael Matt. He's his dad was, I think, the founder, his grandfather was the founder of the Remnant magazine, very solid Catholic weekly, and good Catholic information, good Catholic news. And Matt, he has now a TV show once a week, I think it is. Anyway, so I'll put that link below so you can go check out Michael Matt. But he covers all of this. But the thing was, I think that this Catholic bishop in France was very, very angry because the secular authorities were saying, hey, these young people, they're rejecting all of this LGBT stuff and all of this racial theory stuff and all of this climate change stuff. And they're embracing the Catholic faith, the authentic Catholic faith, and that's countercultural to the secular environment. It's countercultural to the Enlightenment. Now you have to remember that now this is interesting because these next few dates I want to share with you, I think are very, very significant. Okay, and so the first one I guess I'll start off with is 1794, July 16th. 1794. And you might ask, well, what happened on July 16th, 1794? Well, the beautiful nuns of Compiègne were executed. They were led to their deaths to the guillotine. Because why? They would not compromise with the quote-unquote new Enlightenment that France was going through, the French Revolution. And here's just a little video, a very powerful video that I'll share with you, depicting their executions. I don't know about you, but I can't help but feel great emotion when I watch that. Now, yes, I know it's a movie, but I think it's done with a lot of decorum. It's done with, I think it's not done with graphic violence, but the threat that these courageous women experienced when they went to their death. There's also a opera called The Dialogue of the Carmelites, and which chronicles the execution of the nuns of Compiègne. But again, I don't know about you, but I can't help but feel a great emotion when I see that little video clip, knowing that these brave young nuns went to their death because they refused to embrace the quote-unquote very secular Enlightenment, which is supposed to be tolerant and open-minded, and yet these poor women were persecuted and executed for their faith. Another date that we celebrate, there's these July dates that are very, very, I think, very meaningful for us. The next date is July 16th, which is today, which I'm making this video. It's Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And Carmel, you may recall, is a mountainous region in Israel, in Jerusalem, I think it is, or outside of Jerusalem. And for centuries, men and women went into the Carmel to what? To live the hermetic life, the life of a hermit, to grow closer to God. And for a long time, they did that until the Muslims in the 13th century kicked them out. But then they came back to Europe, many of these people, and they started religious orders. And some of the notable people from Carmel are Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint Therese of Lisieux, Saint Simon Stock, and of course Saint John of the Cross. And some of them are even doctors of the church. But again, they have a love for the traditions of the church, the love for the Gospels, the love of growing closer in intimacy with Jesus Christ. So that's July 16th. And then in July 14th, rather July 13th, 1916, many of you will know, is one of the great apparitions of Fatima. And this was the apparition that revealed to the children the painful realities of hell. Now, again, some people get really upset when you remind them that hell is a reality. In fact, many people today, even in the church, scoff at that. They think it's, well, one, they think it's a fairy tale. They don't believe it. And I think it's always interesting that the greatest deception that the devil brings to us, he says that, he deceives us by saying he doesn't really exist, and neither does hell. That's his greatest ploy. And unfortunately, too many people inside the church today believe that, have fallen for that. But this is something that we need to take very seriously, and we need to continue to teach this faith, that hell is real. And many millions of people will probably go there because, why? They don't have good shepherds to warn them. It'd be like a doctor who looked at your test results and said, oh, this guy's got some, or this lady's got some real problems, and they were afraid to tell you the truth because it would upset you. Would you think that's a good doctor? Most of us would probably shake our heads and say, nope, that's not a good doctor. Now, a good doctor is one who's going to not just tell you you have this condition or this disease, but they're going to try to, again, help you get through that, okay? But unfortunately, too many shepherds today don't want to upset people, so they don't say anything. Another date that I think is very interesting, and this was a date right after the anniversary of the revelation of Our Lady of Fatima, of the revelation of hell to the children, is July 14th, and that is a wonderful Catholic history date in which Pope Pius V in 1570 wrote a papal bull, or a papal injunction, I guess, basically saying that all priests for perpetuity, let's say that fast, perpetuity, can say the Mass as it was codified back in the 1570s or the 16th century. Now, again, some people say, well, of course, priests say Mass all the time. Well, what he's specifically saying is the traditional Latin Mass. Now, we have now know it as the traditional Latin Mass because after Vatican II, things were changed. But basically, this papal bull gives priests the permission forever and ever. It can never be rescinded to say the traditional Mass. So here's the thing that's going to be an interesting canonical conundrum, is that even though the Pope is now saying basically priests can't do that anymore. See, Pope Benedict back in 2007 gave priests the permission. You had to use, but before you had to ask your bishop first. It was usually it was a little bit of a dicey affair, but I had permission from both Bishop Quinn and Bishop Wiegand, and I guess after 2007, I had universal permission from the indult that Pope Benedict gave. So there was no need to even get permission from our local ordinary at the time. But again, priests were just allowed to do this. Well, now it seems like, again, for reasons, it seems like, and again, I don't try here to judge people, but it looks like there's some bishops that are very angry about this because the young people seem to love their tradition, love the tradition of the church as they should, and they have a right to it, and now they're trying to suppress that. And I really think that there's something very stingy about that. Let me just put that. It's very uncharitable because there is a universal understanding that when the church gives permission, I don't know of any time where it's ever rescinded anything. This might even be a historical precedent where the church is now rescinding something that Pope Pius V, back in 1570, gave a universal permission for all priests to celebrate the Mass as it was codified back in the 16th century. And then Pope Benedict, again, reiterated the fact that, yes, priests can say this Mass. It was never outlawed, because a lot of people say, well, it was outlawed. Never was. So again, it seems very stingy on the part of some of these people that are doing this, and I don't know why they're doing it other than maybe they're jealous, they're fearful. I do know one thing, and that is that the theology that usually comes with the Latin Mass is a person who wants to uphold the authentic Orthodox teachings of the Church. And again, there's a very strong group, albeit probably a very small group, that now holds power. Isn't interesting? Jesus said that, do not lord it over like the Gentiles do. They make their power felt, but it shall not be so among you. You're supposed to have a shepherd's heart. You're supposed to govern and lead as a shepherd, not as a dictator or, a bureaucrat. And I think that too many people today are starting to do that. And that's where we're getting into a lot of trouble. Anyway, so those are the things that have been kind of a concern to me. As I, share this alternate video. Again, it's all about trying to be a good, faithful shepherd. Now, am I trying to put myself on a pedestal and say, I'm right and everybody else is wrong? Well, I've never tried to say that at all. I'm a sinful man. Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me, a sinner. Okay, so first and foremost, I am a sinner in need of salvation, just like everybody else. But I do believe that the teachings of the Catholic Church are true and correct, and they need to be safeguarded, and they need to be embraced, and they need to be taught, and not denied, not ignored, not rescinded. And so I think that that's the message, of a good shepherd. Jesus wants to give his church the truth, And unfortunately, we do have people, and I know I've said this over and over and over again in the church, that want to compromise with secular society. They want to be enlightened. They want to go along, with this new, and I hate to say it, kind of this new globalist agenda, which seems to be creeping, a lot of this sliding this slope. We're on the slippery slope to totalitarianism, to be sure. So again, I just like to just, as a shepherd's plea, is just, ask people to pray for the church, yes, pray for the Holy Father, pray for our bishops, especially the ones that are just being harsh. They're again, there's that bishop in Wisconsin who's suspending Father Altman, and there are other bishops. Now we have some good bishops, and but unfortunately some of them are just, I think they're afraid. They're afraid of the secular media. I think they're afraid of the secular society, and they're trying to compromise. And I think that they need to find courage in the truths of the faith and be a good, strong shepherd. I was thinking that, unfortunately, history has taught us that sometimes you have to be willing to stand up for things that are unpopular. I'm a kind of a history buff, and so I watch a lot of history about World War II. And, some great people who rose up to stand up against what was going on in Nazi Germany, not in all Germany, but Nazi Germany, were people like, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Sophie Scholl, the White Rose, Colonel von Stauffenberg, Klaus von Stauffenberg. And in the Soviet Union, we have Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who spoke up and was talking about the atrocities and the horrors that were happening there to innocent people, and a lot of Catholics. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of Catholics were slaughtered en masse when the Soviets went through their revolution, when the Bolsheviks came to power. You know, they got rid of they just slaughtered Christian villages and Christian people en masse. And we don't even hear about that history. So sometimes, though, you have to stand up and speak the truth, even if it's unpopular and even if it may even cost you martyrdom. So, you know, again, I guess this is alternate video is just a shepherd's plea to ask people to really prayerfully consider what you believe, you know, and to embrace that. And of course, you know, Our Lady of Fatima, you know, said that in the end, you know, if we pray her rosary, her Immaculate Heart will triumph. You know, we're going to see some scary things. We're already seeing some very scary and depressing things, but we believe and we know that her Immaculate Heart will triumph, okay? So I hope you got something out of that this week, and may God bless you today and every day. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.